Deliberate practice. Deliberate practice. Some of the things that we want to do in life are pretty big. In fact, I would say this, even though your goal should be attainable, if it's an easy goal, it's not worth attaining. Your goal should be bigger than you. Your goal should require faith. Your goal should stretch you beyond what you can naturally do by yourself. Otherwise, it's not big enough. Because God sees way bigger than you and I do. Okay? So, once you see that goal, once you have written it down, you've got the vision written down, you've broken it down into goals, you've broken it down into action steps, now you need to start the habit, everybody say habit, of daily practice or daily exercise. And you know what? This is something that, as much as we'd like to get away from, how many of you know it's harder to exercise the older you get? Probably because of time commitments and. But how many of you know that we all have habits in our life. It's just a lot of them aren't healthy, right? And those unhealthy habits require time and energy. And even though they may seem like they're giving us great pleasure for a moment, afterwards usually suck life out of us. Right? So now we need to get into the pattern of replacing unhealthy disciplines with healthy disciplines. Now this is where this whole process gets hard. It is easy to put things on paper. It's not even that difficult to go tell a friend that we're going to do certain things. It's when it gets down to the discipline part that it gets hard. I remember when I was skinny as a rail. It's funny because every once in a while I'll run into somebody from youth group and they'll see like a picture of me online and they don't recognize me. And then I put a bunch of stuff up on Facebook, old youth group stuff. They go, "That's the Randy I remember." That guy weighed, 150 pounds.
That was just how much his hair weighed.
Back then, I had some serious disciplines in my life. I mean, like for instance, during that period of my life, we watched zero television. In fact, gave it away. It wasn't unusual for me to go out and run 3 to 6 miles a day. And Robin, that's like taking a jog. But then pressure comes, and your time gets more scarce because when you're a kid, you're not working every day, and so we begin to allow unhealthy things to come into our lives. I just want to challenge you guys today. First of all, I know what that is like because I have done it. There's a point where I look back at myself and I really didn't even know who I was. I look in the mirror. I would look in the mirror and I would think, who are you? How did you get here? And it's never just one big leap. It's 1,000 small decisions. It's 1,000 compromises. It's 1,000. And I don't even know necessarily that we should be condemned over that, because when you're under extreme pressure, something has to give somewhere. Sometimes it's about all you can do just to survive. And if you're in that mode of your life and you're hanging on by the skin of your teeth and you don't know how you're even going to make it to another day, then I sure as heck can't blame you for not going out and jogging in the morning. Neither can I blame you for eating a hot fudge sundae to make yourself feel better. What I do know is that over time those habits will begin to create a new version of you. And the day will come when you'll look at yourself and not know who you are. And I want to encourage you today that you didn't get that way overnight. If you start looking at the compromises that you started making, some of them you started making 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, you started making little shifts in your life that got you to where you are today. I want to start challenging you to begin setting the goals, begin creating the to-do list, and begin doing the daily disciplines. Don't try to change your entire life. Pick one area and gain some victory. Because when you get control over an area of your life where you've been out of control, it's empowering. It's life-giving. It'll give you back energy you thought you would never ever have again. I told you earlier that sometimes I just think my wife, she probably should just have me committed. Because, I just got so much energy inside of myself, I do weird things to express it. It's like, I'll laugh out loud just to hear myself laugh. I'll dance around the house. I'll do little jigs and just act crazy just to get rid of all the... I got energy that it's like I once was lost, but now I'm found. I was dead, but now I'm alive. And it feels good. Now, as I look at my life, there are still some areas that I don't have control over. But in the big scheme of things, I've probably regained 80% of the ground lost. And after you hit a certain point, you begin to create inertia. And that inertia now, how many of you know that if you took a train that was standing still on a train track and you tried to push it, how many of you know that it would take great, great effort to get that train moving? But if you get that train moving and you stand in front of it, how many of you know it's really hard to get it stopped? That's the way it is when we begin to create new disciplines in our life. The first couple we create may not seem to make a big difference. It may not seem like a life-changing event, but it'll give you enough power that you can make the next set, and then the next set. And there comes a point, and I don't know where this point is, but it's this magic point at which I'm no longer standing still. My life is moving forward. And you'll realize that. It's like empowering. It's like life-giving. My life is moving forward. For years it seemed like it was stationary or going down into a hole in the ground. And now I'm moving forward. And then you begin to develop more inertia and more inertia and more inertia. And the more inertia you gain, the easier it is to make those life-changing disciplines. It's exciting. I want to challenge you this morning just to recapture your life. Some of you may not be that far gone yet. Get a hold of it before it gets too far gone. Take advice from somebody who's been there. Some of you may feel like I did. You may feel like, I don't even know who that person is anymore. Don't put it off till tomorrow. Start today. Start today. Deliberate practice. Do what other successful people have done. There's somebody that's very good at what you want in life. Study them, buy the materials, read from them, go to their seminar. But basically, the bottom line is do what they did. Do what they did. If it worked for them, why wouldn't it work for you? Create new habits. I recommend, and this is something that I just highly recommend, when you set your goals, make them 12-week goals. Now, there's a number of reasons why I suggest that. The first reason is that if you take January 1st and cross it off the calendar, it's just an empty day. For the next 7 days, you fast and pray about what the next area of my life that I want to change. 7 days. 12-week cycle of discipline. Next week of fasting and praying over the next change you're going to make. 12 more weeks. 4 cycles fit into a year perfectly, with 1 week before each cycle to plan what you're going to do the next 12 weeks. It's a perfect plan. 12 weeks is long enough to set completely new habits. It's also short enough that you say to yourself, I could do that for 12 weeks. How many of you know some things are just so big you think, I don't know if I could change that the rest of my life? After you change it for 12 weeks, it's a lot easier to change it the rest of your life. Okay? 12-week cycles. Build accountable relationships with other people. Find somebody that will hold you accountable. And that takes us to the next principle, which we'll pick up next week. How are you guys doing today?